There are moments in life when a single request, spoken by someone who has nothing, can flip a grown man's heart upside down. That's exactly what happened the day a group of tough, leather-jacketed bikers rolled into a forgotten town and came face to face with two orphaned kids who asked for nothing but a bottle of milk. They thought it would be a quick stop, a moment passing through. But what happened next turned into a story no one saw coming, one that changed their lives, the town's future, and created a flavor the world had never tasted before. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories that hit deeper than ice cream on a summer day. Let's dive in. The sun was just dipping behind the hills when the Iron Mercy bikers roared down the quiet two-lane road that led into Brook Hollow, a fading small town forgotten by time. Their leader, Maverick Hayes, whose rough exterior was matched only by the deep grief he carried from losing his family years ago, slowed his motorcycle as he noticed how empty the streets looked. Most bikers preferred big cities and loud places, but Maverick liked small towns because they reminded him of what life once felt like before everything collapsed. With him rode Diesel, a giant with a soft spot for stray dogs, Juno, the sharp-eyed medic of the group, Colt, the youngest but often the bravest, and two more riders who treated each other like brothers. They planned only to stop for supplies, maybe a drink, and rest before their next charity ride. They had no idea that their single stop would turn into the most life-changing moment they would ever experience. As they slowed near an old, rusted convenience store that looked like it hadn't been painted since the early 90s, Maverick noticed something shocking. Two small kids, maybe 7 or 8 years old, standing near the entrance, pressing their faces against the glass refrigerator inside. The boy was wearing shoes with holes in them, and the girl held a small bag of coins that jingled with the sound of pennies and a few nickels. Maverick's heart tugged, though he didn't show it on his face. The bikers parked their bikes, their engines rumbling like thunder, and the kids immediately froze. They weren't scared, just startled, the way children look when they're not used to strangers, especially strangers wearing leather and chains. The girl whispered something to her brother, and he simply nodded, clutching her hand. Inside the store, Maverick approached the old cashier, who looked like he'd lived through every hardship the town experienced. Before Maverick could even speak, the little boy finally stepped forward and said in the smallest, politest voice, "Sir, do you have any milk today?" The cashier sighed heavily. "Kids, I already told you the milk delivery didn't come this week. Again. You'll have to wait until Monday if the truck even shows up." The girl looked down, defeated. She opened the little cloth pouch in her hand and said softly, we saved enough this time. We can pay." The cashier shook his head and gently pushed the pouch back toward her. "It's not about the money. We just don't have milk." The bikers watched quietly, unsure whether to step in or let the moment breathe. Diesel bent down and asked, "You too hungry?" The girl hesitated, then nodded. But the boy answered for both of them. "We just need milk. It's for our baby sister. She's only 1, and she cries all night. We water down the last little bit, but she needs real milk." Colt looked at Maverick, and Maverick felt his chest clench. He remembered the nights he used to mix formula for his own daughter before the accident that took her and his wife away. Something inside him cracked. Maverick knelt down in front of the kids and said, "What's your name, little man?" The boy stood straighter, trying to look older. "I'm Ely, and this is my sister, Leela." Maverick nodded, absorbing every detail. "How long since you've had milk at home?" Eli shrugged like he was trying not to cry. "Maybe a week, maybe more. Sometimes the neighbors give us some, but most people don't have extra. Gas is high, food is high. No one has anything extra." Leela added in a tiny voice, "We can pay you when we grow up. We promise. We'll give you back all of it." Maverick's throat tightened. Juno looked away, wiping her eyes. Diesel grunted and muttered, "Damn." Colt whispered, "Maverick, we gotta do something." Maverick stood, pulled his gloves off, and said, "Kids, wait here." The bikers stepped outside, formed a quick huddle, and Maverick outlined the plan like a general preparing for battle. They rode out of the parking lot and drove 10 miles to the next town, where the gas station still had truck deliveries. They cleared out almost an entire refrigerator of milk cartons, formula, baby snacks, fresh fruit, and anything else kids might need. But that wasn't the part that would change everything. Colt, who had worked in an ice cream shop before joining the bikers, suggested something crazy. What if they created a flavor just for these kids? Something symbolic. something comforting. Something that represented the innocence they were trying to protect. A flavor that would taste like hope. Maverick loved the idea. They bought heavy cream, vanilla beans, honey, chocolate flakes, cinnamon, marshmallows, and even little caramel pearls. Colt explained his vision: a flavor built from warmth, childhood, and comfort. Something soft, something familiar, something that tasted like a safe home. They loaded everything and raced back to Brook Hollow. When they returned, the kids were still there, sitting on the curb, shivering in the cold evening breeze. Leela's face brightened when she saw the milk cartons stacked like a miniature mountain in the biker's arms. Eli covered his mouth in disbelief. Maverick knelt beside them and said, "We got enough milk to last you a while, but that's not all. Do you like ice cream?" Their eyes lit up. Maverick turned to Colt, who took out a portable ice cream maker borrowed from a restaurant in the next town. They started mixing ingredients right there in the parking lot, the machine humming as people passing by began to gather. The scent of warm vanilla and honey drifted through the air. The townspeople, curious at first, grew silent as they watched these rough-looking bikers create something gentle. Colt finally opened the lid, revealing a creamy swirl streaked with golden caramel and speckled with chocolate flakes. He held out 2 scoops to the kids. "This is Hope Swirl." Eli took a bite and immediately covered his face as tears spilled out. Leela giggled through her sniffles. Maverick felt something inside him soften to the point of breaking. Soon, the townspeople wanted to try it too. They lined up, offering donations. Some offered money, some offered other food to give the kids. It didn't take long before word spread, and the story reached a local reporter who happened to be passing through. She filmed everything, from the moment the kids tasted the ice cream to the community joining forces. The video went viral within hours. Requests for the Hope Swirl flavor came pouring in from all over the country. An ice cream company contacted Maverick and offered to mass produce it. The agreement: a percentage of every sale would go to orphaned children across America. And Maverick made sure Eli, Leela, and their baby sister were placed with a caring guardian. A retired schoolteacher named Mrs. Aldridge, who had once dreamed of adopting but never had the chance. The bikers kept visiting Brook Hollow. They built a small playground. They donated groceries every month. They even helped reopen a local cafe using profits from the viral video. But the biggest twist came months later. One evening, as Maverick prepared for another charity ride, a letter arrived. It was written in crayon. "Dear Maverick," Eli wrote, "we don't have to pay you back when we grow up, because you already gave us a future to grow up into." Maverick read the note over and over, tears falling freely for the first time in years. And that night, he told his bikers something he had never shared before: helping those kids helped him heal a wound he thought would never close. The story became a symbol, not of bikers helping kids, not of a town being rescued, but of how one simple request for milk turned strangers into family, and a single moment into a flavor that united people across the country. Hope Swirl wasn't just ice cream. It was a reminder that sometimes the smallest voices create the biggest change. And it all began with 2 little kids standing in front of an empty refrigerator, believing that kindness was still possible in a world that often seemed too cold. But that belief changed everything. Not just for them, not just for the bikers, but for everyone who tasted the flavor inspired by their innocence. The flavor that reminded America that hope, like ice cream, is always sweeter when shared. At the end, ask viewers before you go, tell me in the comments from which part of the country you're watching this video.